There is so much going on in the new Goosebumps TV show that you can't possibly catch all the hidden details and secrets in the series. For example, in the first episode, we see several Goosebumps creatures in Harold Biddle's house: the Haunted Mask, the worms from Go Eat Worms, the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, as well as the camera from Say Cheese and Die. However, there's a fifth Goosebumps monster that's hidden in one of the shots. On the desk where the Haunted Mask sits, there's a jar of bright green liquid. I don't know about you, but that doesn't look like water. In fact, I would say it looks more like monster blood. Who knows? That jar was awfully close to the mask when Harold took the picture. Maybe the green substance got in the shot and the evil camera is gonna turn it into monster blood. Here's another reference to a classic Goosebumps book. In one scene, the character Isaiah is looking around the school's locker room when he's surprised by his English teacher, Nathan Bratt. Brian's dressed up as a referee, complete with a whistle and hat. There's not really any reason for this, but this costume bears a striking resemblance to the cover of the horror at Camp Jelly Jam. This next reference, though, is even better. In episode 5, the character Margot goes wandering around the school trying to learn more about Harold Biddle. She ends up in the AV room, and in the background, you can see a poster for a film called The Basement. Not only that, but the poster shows a hand grabbing the side of a door, just like the original cover of Goosebumps number 2, Stay Out of the Basement. Now, what could be even more meta than that? By having actual Goosebumps books in the Goosebumps show. In episode 4, the characters gather in their school's library to discuss what they need to do next. I think you know where this is going. It's difficult to see, but if you look closely, there are actual Goosebumps books in the background. Creep from the Deep, the Goosebumps movie novel, and The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. A pretty random choice of books, but cool nonetheless. Imagine if the characters found Night of the Living Dummy in the library. That would be so meta. Man. Although, the original Goosebumps TV show did stuff like this too. Actually, that's not the only similarity between the 90s series and the 2023 series. The first word spoken in both shows is the exact same. The first episode of the 90s Goosebumps show, The Haunted Mask, begins with an introduction from R.L. Stine, who says,
"Hello."
In the 2023 series, the first episode begins with Harold Biddle walking home from school and hanging out at his house. He hears a knock on the door and goes to answer it. When he does, Harold says,
Hello?
It was shared before the new Goosebumps show came out that the series is going to be influenced by 5 specific Goosebumps books, but it appears there are 2 hidden books that are also influencing the show. The character Nathan Bratt inherits the abandoned Biddle house since he's the oldest surviving relative to the Biddle family. Funny enough, in the very first Goosebumps book, Welcome to Dead House, the main character, Amanda Benson, and her family inherit a home from their late great-uncle that they didn't know they had. Both homes also deal with death. Dead House is where new families go before they get killed by the townspeople. As for the Biddle house, Harold Biddle died inside the home. Speaking of which, Harold's death seems to be taking a page out of The Ghost Next Door. In the book, Hannah Fairchild is killed when she dies in a house fire, just like what happened to Harold Biddle. Hannah comes back as a ghost years later, which Harold Biddle does too. Although, Hannah actually tries to help, while Harold Biddle, not so much. Going back to Nathan Bratt, where did he come from? Well, if you pay close attention, you can find the answer. In episode 7, we see Nathan Bratt's car, which has a California license plate. It appears the English teacher originated from the Golden State before moving up to Port Lawrence, Washington. While the original Goosebumps series has gotten the most love from the new show, the 2023 series did make a reference to the Goosebumps movie. In episode 6, Nathan Bratt tells the main characters the story of Harold Biddle and Slappy. At the very end, Bratt says,
Right. The twist.
I see Harold Biddle attended one of Jack Black's classes.
Every story ever told can be broken down into 3 distinct parts. The beginning, the middle, and the twist.
That in of itself is a reference to almost every Goosebumps book having a twist ending. A reference within a reference. Wow. Now, I left the best hidden detail for last. This one might give us some insight into what's going to happen later in the series too. Episode 6 introduces Slappy the Dummy and how he got to Port Lawrence. In the 1920s, Slappy helped a struggling magician named Ephraim and made him a big star. Decades later, Ephraim repaid the favor by stealing a casket-shaped object from the mausoleum. We don't see what's inside, but the outside clearly says Can Do. Wouldn't you know it, there's already a character in Goosebumps with that same name, and he has a connection to Slappy. In the Goosebumps Slappy World book, I Am Slappy's Evil Twin, the story begins in 1920. A man named Franz Mahar created and performed with a ventriloquist dummy named Mr. Wood. Franz became friends with a magician named Kondu, but as it turns out, Kondu got his magic from a dark place. Kondu used his powers to bring Mr. Wood to life and made the dummy evil. Franz Mahar ran away, and it's unknown what happened to Kondu. However, Franz used some of the magic he learned from Kondu, and this led to the creation of Slappy. Now, what would Slappy want from Kondu? The living dummy ordered Ephraim to pull out a note from inside the object and read it. Maybe, like in the book, Kondu's magic is what brought Slappy to life, and perhaps Slappy needs more of Kondu's powers to unleash his ultimate plan. What's more interesting though, is that since Kondu is in the show, does that mean Mr. Wood will be appearing later in the series? Also, before Ephraim says the words in the note, he gets a vision of a tower on fire. Is this the Tower to Nowhere? The Tower to Nowhere was an attraction at an amusement park called Panic Park. However, the higher you climbed, the hotter it got. The tower we see in Ephraim's vision seems to go on forever, and it's pretty hot. The final episode of Goosebumps Season 1 is called Welcome to Horrorland. Maybe Horrorland imported the Tower to Nowhere, and it'll be appearing in the last episode. However, that won't matter at all if the new Goosebumps TV show is bad. To find out if the new series is bad or good, watch this video.